this is JC. Welcome to Urban Knife Guy, where we explore the urban knife style and jungle survival. Today we're going to have a look at a work tough gear knife. This is the Mount Laguna, a satin finish, and we're going to see if it makes for a good outdoor belt fixed blade. First, if you watch this channel regularly but have not subscribed, please do so to help the channel out. And if you'd like to support the channel even more, do check out my shop links in the pinned comment or description below. You can even join as a channel member for exclusive content. Thanks a lot. So I've always heard about work tough gear and the great quality of the knives. Now, they're made in Taiwan, but they've gained a worldwide popularity and many people rave of their knives. So I've looked at the knives for probably over a year now, and this is a knife that caught my fancy very early on, but I never pulled the trigger until now. So it is a small knife, and this is the Mount Laguna. Very simple packaging from work tough gear. I would assume most of the knives come in this kind of packaging, but you do get a very nice package inside, as you see over here. So thick Ziploc bag, and we've got a couple of things. We do have the knife over here. We have lots of bits of things. We have some screws and an Allen key, and that's for the belt clip to the Kydex sheath. So that comes separated, probably for packaging. Some Chicago screws for the Kydex sheath as well. We've got a nice patch, it's a Velcro patch, some paracord, and then we've got a cleaning cloth and a sticker. So nice little package you get with this knife over here. And this is what we're talking about today. It's the Mount Laguna. It's designed by John, who has a YouTube channel that goes by Wingman115. So do check out the link. I'll put it in the description below. Now, he designed this particular knife kind of as a homage to his grandfather, and I believe the area he is near is Mount Laguna, which is why he named it as such. So it's a small fixed blade knife, as you can see. Great Kydex sheath, and here we have the blade, thick blade stock as well, as you can see. So let's talk about the sheath as well. I'm very happy with the Kydex sheath. Being in a tropical jungle environment, I always go for a Kydex sheath. It's got a drainage hole as well. It's taco style, but it's good fit, and it's also got a nice big thumb ramp, which I personally like. So yeah, great. I think that's an A for the Kydex sheath. Now for the knife itself. It is a smaller knife. It's designed as a smaller, all-round hunting, outdoor, bushcraft style knife. All right, let's talk about the specs, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the knife, and then we'll bring it out to the field for a field test. So the blade length is 4 inches long, the handle length is 4.25 inches long, overall length is 8.25 inches. The knife weighs 8.1 ounces or 230 grams, which is pretty hefty for a small knife like that, and that's because of the thickness of the blade. You can see that 0.196 inches or 5 millimeters. So it's actually really thick for such a small knife. Now, the blade steel is K110 with a HRC of 57 to 59, and this is really an equivalent of D2 steel, so very hard semi-stainless tool steel. Drop point style blade. It's got a satin finish, and the grind is a Saber grind with a convex cutting edge. Handle material is G10, but there are black liners, and it is a full tang knife, as you can see. Now, I'm actually, I would say, in favor of smaller belt knives, and that's mainly because I bring a parang, and I believe in a multi-knife system when you go out to the field. So in my case, I generally have a 3-knife system, so I would have a parang or a machete, which would be my big knife, and then I now want a smaller belt knife as opposed to really a big, let's say a 6-inch fixed blade. So I want something smaller, and that's why I've been carrying the Line Steel M4, and that's, you can see a similar small knife in terms of the blade length. Now, this blade length is even shorter than this one. This is about 3.75 inches. Let's go for more traditional style bushcraft knife. We have the BPS DBK Bushmate, also on that kind of a smaller size, although this handle is longer. But that gives you an idea of what I mean by a smaller fixed blade as opposed to, you know, something that's large and chunky. Now, having said that, even though this is a small knife, it's got really thick blade stock, right? Here's the M4. It is definitely thinner. This is 4 millimeters. Now it looks maybe even thinner because it's got crowning, so that's kind of rounded here. Here we have, I believe this is 3.5 mils, so even thinner. So there's something to be said. Do you want a small knife like that to be thick or thin? I would say, since there are quite a few options with thinner blade stocks at this size, so it would be a welcome entry into the market to have something really thick, maybe even overbuilt, but in terms of a smaller form like this. So I can appreciate why this would exist, and then would of course have to test out the functionality in the jungle to see if this thickness hinders it or actually works for it. Now, let's talk about the blade grind. I actually bought this, one reason I bought this is because of the blade grind. So a lot of these bushcraft knives generally want to go with that Scandi grind. So I do prefer a Saber grind finish for my outdoor knives. And this came really sharp, right? That convex sharpening edge was really nice, and got a mirror finish as well. So in terms of ergos, the handle shape, not a problem for me. I have small to medium hands, and you can see I can get a full grip. If you have larger hands, I would say your hands would go something like that, but I think still comfortable. And I believe John designed this as kind of an all-round knife. You can use it for skinning, you can use it for general cutting and bushcraft and light wood processing. I don't hunt, so this is mainly a wood processing knife for me, and general kind of camp or bushcraft knife. So I like hefty knives, so I have no problem with the weight, even though, yes, it is heavy for a small knife like that. Overall, I think, you know, it's well made, fit and finish is great. You know, people talk about the quality from Tuff gear, and I have to admit, it's really nice. And I think, you know, there's scallops here for you to kind of pinch grip if you need. So lots of flexibility in terms of how you can handle and hold the knife, even though it's such a small knife. And there's that bow drill divot as well on both sides. If you want to start a friction fire, then you could. I won't, but yeah, you could do that. Put it in the sheath for safety, and then you could use that as the divot. Lanyard hole as well, and they give you that paracord if you want. But overall, just a nice package. But let's bring it out to the field, go into the jungle, and we'll put it to the test, and we'll even see if we can make a fire with it. We are in the jungle, and I'm going to field test the Mount Laguna. Now, this isn't a large knife, so I'm not going to do any large heavy-duty tasks, but I will put it through the paces and just do some regular general light-duty bushcraft tasks. I want to feel how it performs in the hand and how it feels in the hand as well, and then I'll share my thoughts at the end. So here are my thoughts after field testing the Mount Laguna. Well, basically it's a great little small knife. Now, if you are looking for a small knife like this, full tang, very thick blade stock, fairly ergonomic, and can basically do it all in the sense of what a knife of this size can do as a general purpose knife, I think it's not bad. I'm looking at it more from a bushcraft point of view. It definitely will suffice. It comes out shaving sharp out of the box. It is a very thick blade stock, and I do feel it's a bit thick behind the edge. So for a task, even just like a feather sticking, it could do the job, but it did take a bit more effort. So I did feel there was a hot spot as I moved up like that, kind of choking up. I did feel it after a while because of the pressure I needed to make the cuts, at the same time to control the blade. So it wasn't the most comfortable in that respect from my point of view. In general, if you're doing notches, you're carving 10 steaks, you're battening basically smaller pieces of wood as I did, you absolutely will have no problem with this, and it is comfortable with this handle. I would say comfortable enough. So I would say, again, if you're looking for an all-rounded knife, and I think what I'm missing from my equation might be the hunting aspect, because I believe the designer did put in skinning and hunting as part of the design specs for this knife, so maybe it will perform that function very well. In that case, if you're looking for all-round bushcraft and hunting knife, maybe this might work very well for you. As you saw in the footage, it was also possible to start a fire using a ferro rod with the spine of the knife and using those feather sticks. So this is really sharpened at a 90-degree angle, which is good. And with enough heat and sparks, you can get that feather sticks to light. So again, in terms of the all-round ability of the knife, you have that within this particular knife. There's also that bow drill divot over here. I didn't use it, but I guess if it comes to an emergency situation and you need to start a friction fire, you have this at your disposal. So overall, if you're looking for a small knife at the $100 price range, you do not want something so big, you want something discreet, but you definitely want something very stout and capable, I can see you definitely finding that this would be the right choice for you. If you want a larger knife which is more geared towards bushcraft, maybe you might actually give this particular knife a pass. Now, if I were to compare this with the M4, the Line Steel M4, which is my current belt knife, I would say I would prefer the M4. It's got better steel at M390, but I find that grind, which is more of a very high saber grind, that has a better thickness behind the edge for my purposes, at least for bushcraft. Now, this is also a saber grind, but again, the blade stock is much thicker. But the M4 is also about $60 more, so there is the trade-off over there. But those are my thoughts for this particular knife. Do you own the Mount Laguna? If you do, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think it's a good bushcraft knife, or you think it's a more general hunting knife? Do let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.